Good afternoon, everybody. Good night. And if you are somewhere in the world, a bit high, love and appreciation for taking the time to be with us in this transmission that we are having all Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, Kathy, uh,
Hey
hi.
there. You'll have to excuse me. I have a bit of laryngitis, so have a little trouble talking tonight, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, weather is unpredictable on these days, right?
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, we have a very interesting topic that we would like to share with the audience. This is a topic that is very important for me as a father, as I have two kids, and as a human being as well. We are going to talk about addiction, what addiction is, what are the techniques that we had applied in our own life to overcome addiction, and so feel free please to send us your comments. We are live in Facebook as well as in YouTube. Sometimes for some reason that we don't understand, the Facebook feed doesn't work, but we will figure it out. And but take it for granted that you will be able to see the video through YouTube, or when we finalize this meeting, you can always go through the YouTube channel or Facebook. All right, Kathy, what is addiction? Let's define what addiction is.
Addiction is a substitute for self-love, if you want my opinion of it. Typically, addiction occurs, you've got two kinds. You've got the simple addiction, like your cell phone. Oh my gosh, I can't be without my cell phone. Where's my cell phone? How many calls have I gotten? How many text messages? This is what the kids today on is their cell phone. Or for the younger kids, you've got the addiction to games. They play these games over and over for hours at a time. And even adults into the game playing, they create an avatar for themselves. And they go into these games and they play them for hours and hours. And actually, they lose all reality. Now, the kids I can understand, it kind of sneaks up on you with the cell phone or with the children playing with the games. But when you become an adult, there's another reason for the addictions. So we need to identify the simple addictions like cell phone or games with the young kids, and then we can get into the heavier addictions. You want to do that?
Yep, I think that's a great way to start.
Yeah.
Let's start with the heavy addictions, right? For let's define what a heavy addiction is. Alcohol and drugs of any kind. I consider
Gambling.
gambling.
Mm-hmm.
I will say pornography
Yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
a big addiction.
Yep.
Um, I will categorize those in the meantime, and so let's elaborate on those, because every each of these has different drivers and motivations, right?
Yeah.
So let's start with maybe alcohol, which is very common.
Well, it has been a proven fact that a substantial number of people who have an addiction have had a trauma in their life. And it's really interesting that if you go back and you analyze the trauma and you talk to the party that is addicted, they always feel guilt. They always feel like somehow they were responsible for what happened to them. Well, from a spiritual perspective, if you have ever studied A Course in Miracles, it tells you that all of us feel guilty that we have somehow separated from God. Well, it's impossible. It's an illusion. It's not real, but we think it's real. So we punish ourselves. We punish ourselves by becoming addicted. And if they can ever learn to forgive, excuse me, if they can ever learn to forgive themselves and forgive the party that caused the trauma or whatever that particular trauma was, then it's much easier for them to overcome the addiction.
The question will be for those, human beings that are facing um, this sort of lack of self-love,
Yeah,
or um, and they think that by getting drunk they are gonna forget all about the problems that they're having. Um, what will be the technique for them to, you know, to really stop, or at least be aware that you have an issue? Because
absolutely.
most of the most of the problems occurs when you think it's normal, and you don't, you know it's not normal, right? So it's a lack of self awareness.
I know. Well, Alcoholics Anonymous has been for how long? Almost 100 years, maybe longer. Has really worked well for a lot of people. Now, the psychiatrists and the psychologists don't agree that it works because it's based on spiritual principles. It brings together people who all have the same addiction. You are able to bond with these people and you learn forgiveness. And part of their program is forgiveness, which is a spiritual principle. But not only are they forgiving themselves, but they go around and they ask the parties they injured due to their alcoholism or drug addiction or whatever to forgive them. So that's one thing they can do. The worst thing an addicted person can do is isolate themselves, especially if they feel guilty. They know they have an addiction. They feel powerless to overcome the addiction. So they end up using even more drugs or alcohol. So it's a vicious circle. So they have to break this self-absorbed thing. They can do meditation. If a person only did 10 minutes of meditation a day, and part of that meditation could be gratitude, focusing on everything they have to be grateful for. And I've talked to many people who say, I don't have anything to be grateful for. And that's what they believe. And yet they're talking, they're walking, they can see, they can hear, they have a roof over their head, they have food in their belly. So you have a lot to be grateful for. And another thing that you can do is you can volunteer your time. That's another great way to reclaim your self-esteem. When you go out and help other people, first of all, you realize you're not nearly as bad off as you thought you were. And second of all, it gets your mind off of your problems. And your mind is very powerful, Raul. Your thoughts create your reality. So when you dwell on your addiction, you get more of what? Your addiction. But when you get your mind off of it, you help other people, your self-esteem comes back. And you open yourself to love, because of course love can cure any addiction immediately. So those are some of the suggestions that I would have.
Yeah, I would like to add a personal story about alcohol, right? So there are we need to have awareness. I think that's the one of the principles,
Yes.
awareness, right? And when you had awareness, you know that you had a problem, right? And so in my particular situation, I have, occurrence of getting drunk, and that was not fun at all. That really was very disempowered, right? But I become aware of the situation and try to stop placing excuses. Most of the time, we place excuse. No, it's just, I was stressed and
Sure.
I have to drink, or I am tired, or I am, you know, uh, I had a problem with my wife or with my girlfriend, and then went with the boys and I got drunk and then I don't remember anything.
It
When
was
those,
an
when
escape for
those,
you, wasn't it?
pardon me,
It was an escape for
it
you.
was it was an escape,
Yeah.
right? So you have to be aware of those occurrences. And if a beloved one is telling you something uh, that you cannot see, because this is about able to see that you are not right and have the intention, genuine intention to change, right? I think that's one of the first principles that you as a human being need to be aware, and that's critical. Once you start apologizing your misbehavior and be accountable that that is impacting other people, then the second decision is what I'm going to do about it.
Hmm.
Okay, so you can go to Alcoholics Anonymous, you can do meditation, any kind of retreat that will allow you to observe yourself. What is holding you? What is happening? What are you attached that doesn't allow you to get out of this vicious cycle, which at the end of the day, addiction is a vicious cycle as well,
Yeah.
right? You're trying to auto-medicate yourself in order to forget the problem that is holding you back.
That's right.
And so I think that's the most important advice I can give to anybody is that listen to the people that care about you. Listen to them, and be open,
Hmm.
right, about that message to
Yeah.
you. It's not You are not a bad person. You are dealing with unresolved situations, as Kathy did mention. It could be like guilt, it could be, regrets or
Trauma.
something.
Trauma.
Yeah, right?
Hmm.
All of those things.
Hmm.
And then you take the action, and then you go to any organization that can help you out, right? So I think that's the first step. Be aware. Have the awareness that you have an issue that you need to resolve because it's impacting your life and it's impacting all people around you,
Yeah.
your children, your wife, your girlfriend, your parents. Everybody's impacted.
Yeah.
So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's go with now. Uh, you know, People that consume marijuana, drugs, and they do very often. What are your points about that one?
Well, I have to laugh when I think that it's okay that alcohol is legal and yet marijuana is not. And it's really interesting if you remember back to the time of the um, prohibition, when they made alcohol illegal, it gave rise to the biggest crime wave this country's ever seen, and everybody wanted alcohol. It's just in our nature. We want what we can't have. The same was true for marijuana. As long as it's still legal, people want it. And yet, in all of the states that have approved marijuana, made it legal, they have had no problems. As a matter of fact, they've actually seen a reduction in the crime in those particular states that have allowed marijuana to be used. Now, I personally have tried marijuana one time with a bunch of my girlfriends when I was younger, and it didn't do anything for me. So I just said, whatever you think, it's not doing a thing for me. But what I also believe is that marijuana has a lot of good medicinal purposes. And I think that the addiction part comes because it makes you feel good. It calms you down. It leaves you calm like this, and you cannot think about your problems. So, just like alcohol, marijuana can hide the problems, but it doesn't cure the problem. So, it's the same thing. Done in moderation, I see nothing wrong with it. But if you make it your lifetime, the minute you wake up till the time you go to bed, you have an addiction, just like with alcohol. And then you need to get to the core root. Why? Why do I do this? Did I have a trauma? Where's my guilt coming from? Whether it's alcohol or marijuana, people do it to forget something. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. As you, I tried. I think I tried two times. One
Yeah,
in the Netherlands, and one here in Georgia, in Atlanta. And
it didn't do anything for me.
it just, it didn't do anything to me as well. It just, when I was in the Netherlands, I had a very good sleep. That's the only thing I can say. And then when I was with some friends, they gave me a cigarette, um, and didn't do anything to me. Like, I was expecting something like, oh, to be happier or no. And then I said,
Me neither.
when they wanted to invite me another one, I said, no, I don't need it.
No, I'm with
So
you.
I fully agree with that assessment of, um, when you have issues not resolved, and then you think that by getting drunk or getting high,
Yeah,
um, the problem will be solved, and actually
yeah.
it's there. So you need to get to the root cause of why you are trying to, you know, to disengage, because actually I think it's a disengagement from reality,
It really is.
right? So so that's the thing, that I think that's the major point. Um, so let's jump into the next one, which I think is pornography. Um, what are your thoughts about that?
I have to be honest with you and say that I don't understand. I really don't understand an addiction to pornography, especially if it's a man and it's children that is what he is addicted to. I cannot understand that, Raul. I'm the first one to admit that. So, what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts about that are that it's a combination of many things.
I do believe this. I do believe that people who were addicted to pornography were probably sexually abused at some time in their life.
Yeah, it has to be with people that has been sex abuse.
Yeah,
Definitely, that could be a factor. Um, Secondly, like in the other case of uh, alcohol and drugs, is escape from reality.
yeah,
You are looking for getting pleasure, but that's not real.
that's right.
That's a, that's it just take you to a place in which you are experiencing something that is not real. And many people uh, get sexually aroused when they see those movies. I will not deny I see it. I mean, it's like many other human beings. And but then I was into a point that I said, this is not real. This is not giving me anything, right? And the second, the most important thing for somebody that is addicted to pornography, again, you need to become aware. This is not giving you the love that you wanted. This is not, I am not condemning anybody, because we are not here to condemn you if you are addicted to pornography, by the way. We're just telling you that that's not uh, within the realm of happiness that you're looking for.
No, you're
It,
absolutely right.
so it's not giving you the power that you need. because you think that by watching those videos you are better, you know I don't know, it will give you something uh, that will add more to you as a person. I don't think that's the case. So that is you know uh, my message to you if you are looking at this video, right? And
Well, I
then,
think, you know what I think the saddest thing is? There are a lot of people today who have never been exposed to church or any kind of spiritual guidelines, and they feel alone, and they have no idea how much they are loved and how much they matter, and how they can turn to somebody in a higher realm for guidance. And they can, and that's why Alcoholics Anonymous has been so good, because they don't push religion on people. All they do is they help each other, and they allow each of those people to share their story and help them get over the addiction. But the prayer that they say is a spiritual prayer, and these people become a family, and that helps overcome addiction as well. When you know you're not alone, and you know everybody's in the same boat, they're all at different stages of their treatment, overcoming it, and you work together. So, but it's based on spiritual principles, which a lot of people have never experienced.
yeah, I totally agree. And I think uh, all of the addictions, pornography, um, alcohol, drugs of any kind, are obviously attachments to anything unresolved.
Yeah.
Um, you just mentioned something very interesting. The people that highly addicted to pornography has been child abuse,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Well, a
right?
substantial number. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I have read that a substantial number were sexually abused.
Right. And so then you need to cut the cord, and you need to, say, well, I release that attachment, forgive the person that abused you with your heart and keep going.
And if they have a hard time forgiving, they might consider the possibility that the person who abused them were themselves abused. It's been a vicious cycle for many generations. It
Yeah,
doesn't condone what they did to you, but it could possibly explain it.
correct. Right. So again, we are not here to judge anybody that is still in that cycle. We as friends are just giving you, love, compassion, and understanding of where you are. Where you are now is your responsibility. We are not here to blame, especially me, because I have seen pornography before. And I'm gonna play the persona of being 100% sant, because I am not, right? I think as any other human being, what we need to achieve is balance, to have a balanced life. And when you're unbalanced is when all of those situations happens, you
Yeah.
know. And so that's my only advice is look for balance in life. And one more thing, because this is not about playing that you are guilty or things like that. No, please don't let's not go that route. Um, I think the route that we want to go, at least me personally, is to tell you that wherever you are right now is a part of your learning experience in this road that we call life. So, you are learning through experiences, and then once you learn your lesson, you are become a better person.
Hmm.
So that's the
Exactly
bottom
right.
line.
Hmm.
That's the bottom line, right?
Hmm.
So if you need help in dealing with these addictions, you always can reach out to us through Facebook Messenger or YouTube, whatever you will find us, and we will do whatever we can to help you out. All right. So now let's talk about the the addiction in this digital era. Is technology. We are talking about artificial intelligence, social networks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Now we have a Snapchat, and we keep going with new applications that are, um, you know, are uh, making us to be connected and more connected. And it looks like we are gonna die if we don't see our cell phones, and it's causing a lot of anxiety. And so let's talk about that, Kathy.
Well, I'm reminded of the Oprah Winfrey show that took away the cell phone from the teenage boy. And of course, he screamed bloody murder. It was for 30 days he could not use his cell phone until he came home. And when they interviewed him at the end of the 30 days, he sheepishly admitted that he was relieved because he was getting something like 125 text messages a day, and it was completely overwhelming this poor kid. And he said that he would never, he said, I'm not even taking my phone to school anymore. So if they, a lot of times it sneaks up on you, don't you think so?
Yeah,
You don't really realize it until maybe you leave your cell phone at home one day. And then if you spend the day wondering who was calling you, you got an addiction. So now you can say, oh boy, I just released this. I don't need this. And it's the
yeah,
same way with the games that the adults play. You know, these games where they make themselves an avatar, they create a total new personality for themselves and they play these games. These are the people who are escaping from reality. They hate their life the way it is. They play a game and there's something they wish they could be. That is an addiction. So, once again, how do you get out of that addiction? You find other things to do, you volunteer your time, you join a group, things like that.
yeah, absolutely. I One suggestion I can provide to you: you are becoming addicted to anything, especially in the cell phone or computer. Uh, Challenge yourself and try to join a meditation retreat. That's what I have done personally. I was in, I think, four times in a meditation retreat with an organization, which is a non-profit called Vipassana, and you have one center in Atlanta, and they have different centers in all the states of the United States, right? And for 10 days, you will not have access to computers, you will not have access to cell phones, and you will not be able to talk to anyone. Very drastic. And you're gonna wake up at 5 in the morning. You're gonna have breakfast at 6, and you're gonna meditate 5 times for 1 hour during the day. And trust me, it's the best experience that you will have. However, I need to warn you that the first 4 days are gonna be the toughest ones. Are gonna be the toughest one because you don't talk to anybody,
Yeah.
and your brain is so used to the noise of your cell phone, of your computer. And then what is more interesting is, since you don't have a cell phone near a computer, then your thoughts, and you become, thinking about things, and then you get to a point in which you will just be in the present, not thinking about what I have done, what I will do, because when you are thinking what I will do, you are just going to the future, And when you are thinking, oh, I did this, and I should have done this, then you are in the past. So
Yeah,
basically, we are going to place you in the present time, and that's what your brain sometimes needs. And sometimes you just, in meditation, you just don't think about anything. That's the best way to
that's the best
meditate,
way.
right?
That's the
So,
best way.
and I think that's a beautiful way to deal with uh, the it will be like a jump start for you to see that you can to take a break, disengage from the cell phone, from the computers. And again, I will not em- em- I will not stop emphasizing that balance is needed. Balance,
Yeah.
right? Because we need a cell phone, we need a computer. Sometimes, it's because of our daily life. Um, you need to work maybe 12 hours. And before getting into this life, I was telling Kathy, since 9:30, I didn't stop until 20 minutes before having this life. I just go straight. Didn't stop. Um, and then one other thing that I may suggest, look for something that you really enjoy.
Hmm.
And that is what I have done personally. Honestly, I enjoy three things: singing, and I was sharing this with Kathy that I am going to a karaoke events, and actually we had a group uh, called the Guardians of the Microphone. Four singers, and we, from 8 to 11, we go and sing, or 12, and that's that cut this cycle of the routine, and so that's great. Dancing is another one. You like to dance? Go dance. And the third one that I use is the going to the gym, doing some sports. That really is a great thing. And the last one is meditation. And while you meditate, um, there are I will just sharing some techniques that I am doing that is helping me a lot. You meditate, but after your meditation, you also give a lot of thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Gratitude.
It's the gratitude that needs to be there.
Yeah.
There are things that are not materializing yet. When you start appreciating and being in your heart, being grateful for all things that have not happened yet, but you are just it's great for your soul. It's great for you. It's great. It really will um, provide you a perspective that will be positive,
Yeah.
right?
And can I just add this, Raul? People have no idea how powerful they really are. They have no idea. I was in meditation one day and I communicate with Mother God. And the way I understand it, Mother God is the activator, and Father God is the stillness that holds everything in place. But there's a Mother, Father God. And I was thinking of everything to be grateful for. And she spoke to me and she said, you need to teach people how to activate their miracle mind. Now, think about that. You are a very powerful being, and you have the power to activate this miracle mind that can bring you everything you could possibly desire. But if you silence it with your addictions, you will never, ever have the opportunity to see just who you could really be. You are a magnificent being. And if you would open up to the possibilities instead of dwelling on the negative thoughts, you have no idea what you could accomplish. Nothing could hold you back. So that is another reason that I would encourage anybody to get off of their addictions and activate your miracle mind.
Absolutely. Um, once you are in that mode, right, of activating your miracle mind, providing appreciation, meditation, and you have a balance, and then you are aware or anything that goes around you,
Hmm.
it's easier to deal with circumstances that will
Yes.
go through your life.
Yep.
Like, and it's so easy to fall down into what you were in the past. Like, if you transform your life to be a better human being, that's where you are now. What you are now is not where you were 10 years ago or 20 years ago, right? But it's easier to fall down. It's easy to go backwards. So
Which is okay, Raul. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up over that. Just take a deep breath and say, no, I'm not getting back there. And just forgive yourself and move forward.
yes, you're right. And it is great also that if you are aware, you will quickly identify that that's not where you need to go,
Yes.
because you are now awake,
Yeah.
right? And I
And you
understand.
realize that that is not who I am. This is not who I am. There's your wake up call. When you can get to the point where you maybe relapsed or even discovered that you, oh, I think I'm addicted, you can stop and say, you know what? That's not who I am. And if you can ever get to that point where you can see you're not this person, now you can move forward. Now you can overcome the addiction.
Yeah, yeah. And my comments were not just talking about addiction. It was coming up, it was going in direction to everything.
Hmm.
Because if you fall down, like Kathy said, you are, let's say that you stop drinking, and then you have a party, and then you go lost. um, well, that's occurrence. It happens to me. So I mean, it happens. But then you need to be aware, okay, I'm not gonna come to what I was. I'm just gonna say, okay, I forgive myself, but I do a promise. I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna be more conscious about it. Right. So I am 100% with what Kathy just said. It's a great example.
Hmm.
Right. But don't lose track. Don't derail.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Don't derail. Be real with your commitment of being a better human being.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And I think we touched it, Kathy. Time is over for our conversation. Um, you just said something that is very, very interesting about our thoughts um, materialize into something that will be eventually tangible,
Hmm.
right?
Thoughts create. Every thought you have is creating the very thing you're thinking about. And if people understood that, they would temper their thoughts, to tell you the truth.
Yes. I believe in our next conversation, we are still, for everybody that is listening to this, uh, you know, streaming. Kat and I were thinking about placing a program. Um, it will it will be called From Powerless to Powerful, in which Kathy will elaborate in techniques, and I will be helping, supporting um, the program. And we will give you details as far as when we are going to have that finalized. We are going to create a closed group, a private group, in which you will, you know, be in that group. We will give you details. We are working on all of the content, all of the tools that we will use, but bear with us. Um, in the meantime, we are going to have this conversation on Thursday. We pick a topic. I think addiction was a great topic. And the next topic that we are going to define, it may be points that allow us to create these tangible things that we would like to have, right? So stay tuned. We will come with the right title for that Thursday conversation. I don't know, Kathy, you have anything to add before finalizing?
The most important thing for everybody to remember is how much you are loved and how much you matter. Never forget that you are a spark of God's divine love and you are here to explore. That means you're going to make mistakes and it's okay. That's why you're here in an environment that allows you to make mistakes because those are the best way to learn. But you won't learn if you continue to beat yourself up over them. So, most importantly, realize why you're here to make mistakes and grow. So, when you make a mistake, say, well, I won't be doing that again, and forgive yourself and move on.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's the most important thing for everybody to remember.
Yes, love moves everything.
Yes. And they are loved unconditionally.
Yes, love moves everything.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, and thank you, everybody who were in this streaming. And uh, love everybody and be safe. God bless you. Bye, Kathy.
Take care. Bye bye.